Hello and welcome to RootsTech Connect 2021. This demonstration is getting started with the FamilySearch Family Tree app. And my name is Todd Powell. My role is the product manager responsible for the mobile apps at FamilySearch. And today I'm going to share with you some of the main features of the mobile tree app and give you some examples of how to use those. And let's get started. All right, we just opened the app and logged in, and by default you get to this view called the Pedigree View. The Pedigree View shows a vertical representation of your ancestors, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, etc. And you can pinch and zoom, you can pan, you can come over here to the top of the fourth generation, hit this arrow up here, which is an expander, and it'll open the tree so that you can see more generations. And then if you don't want to see all those, you can close that again. And you'll notice that it has these add buttons here. When you first create a new account to FamilySearch, it's only going to start with you, and then it's going to have plus buttons here for your parents and your grandparents for you to start building out your tree. So what happens if you tap on any of these tiles? I'm going to go over here to this person, which is grandfather Fred Murtaugh, and I'm going to tap on that, and it's going to show me the person page. Now the person page has a lot of features and functionality. It starts out on the details page up here, but it also has other menu options for family members and sources and memories. But starting on this page, you'll see the name, the birth, the christening, the death information, burial if it's there, and if none of those are there, you come down here to this plus button and you hit the plus button, and it'll let you add a life sketch and notes and alternate names and some other types of information, custom events if you want to add that. So there's quite a lot of options for adding additional information there on a person. And if you go over to, if you go over here to memories and you tap on memories, it also has a plus button down here where you can add documents, and you can write stories, and you can add audio, and you can add photos. So, and then of course on sources, it's the same thing where you can add a source and source reference articles. So it's pretty important to this whole page. And another thing that a lot of people miss is up here in the upper right hand corner, you'll see those three dots. If you tap on those three dots, then it gives you a number of other options. Search records for this person, check for possible duplicates, you can reroute the tree on this person, and if that's not enough, you tap on the more button, and you can share the person, you can refresh them, which will get new data or the latest data from FamilySearch and download it to your phone. Look at recent changes. If you've added a person and you made a mistake, you can delete that person, and also look at charts. So just a lot of things to learn about, and I invite you to play with those. You can't really make mistakes that can't be unchanged, and so there's a lot of functionality and features just on this whole person page alone and on the tree pedigree. All right, let's talk about the feature called Search Historical Records. So if you're in the More menu, which I am on iOS, down here in the bottom right corner, tap on that and you would get to it if you're not in the More menu. And then go all the way up to the top where you have Search Historical Records and tap on that. Now this will open up a web browser that is embedded into the app, so you don't have to leave the app. But this web browser is the same web browser that's used on FamilySearch.org. What I want to do is have a sample of a person that we're going to search for to try to find records. So the person I'm going to enter in, first name is Daniel, last name is Shelton, and what you want to do is enter some context to this person instead of just first and last name. So you have a place and a date that are the most common things to do for context. And I'm going to enter a birthplace, which is Tennessee, and a birth range about 1840 to 1850. If you know the exact date, that's even better. And let's see what happens with that search right there. So tap search, and it comes back and it shows me a Daniel H. Shelton in 1841. Here's another Shelton, and born in 1845. So I want to get a little more specific on this person. So I'm going to go back here to the top where it says refine your search. Tap on that. I think I'm going to do the exact birth year, which is 1848. And you can leave this one blank. And I also want to add a death event. So I know that he died in Salem, Missouri, about 1927. So then I'm going to come back down to the button down here called Update. I'm going to tap that. And gives me a little bit more detailed on there. So now I have a census record and a find a grave record. So I'm going to tap on the census record, the 1880 census record. And I'm going to look through that information to see if I can determine if that's the person I'm looking for. And it looks like the wife and children and mother and father's birthplace here. So I think that is the person. So I found a record that I want to look at, and I scroll to this image and I tap on that image right here, and it opens it up. And this is where you can actually get to the photograph that was taken of the actual record. And I can pan, I can zoom, I can look at more detail, and this is really interesting to look at this information. That's Search Historical Records. It happens to be one, if not the most used feature on FamilySearch.org, and also one of the top features on the mobile. All right, let's talk about this feature called Find a Person. So I'm in the More menu, or Overflow on Android. And up here at the top, you'll see Find a Person, where my highlight is, and I tap on that. And you'll notice that you can find by name or you can find by ID. I'm going to use an example on find by name. It's also good to know that this feature is available if you're not logged in or you don't have an account, or if you do have an account to FamilySearch and you're already logged in, it works similarly. So I'm logged in, and I'm going to enter Isaac Allerton, male. Approximate birth year is 1586, and he was born in England. So I'm just going to choose that drop down there called England, and the approximate death year is 1658. So I'm going to go up here to the upper right corner and tap the Find option. And there it comes back. And you'll notice that the result set of this is not exactly like it was looking for records. It's returning a little bit more information. We actually call this a discovery find because you'll notice it starts with the name Allerton and shows a definition of that name. It also shows you that there's 5,622 people with the last name Allerton in the shared family tree. It also says that Allerton is most likely found in England, the United States, and Wales. And as I continue to scroll down, I'll see the first individual it shows me in the result set is Isaac Allerton, who was born in 1586 in England. Their spouses, parents, knowing a little bit about this person as I do, that looks like the right person. But you'll also notice that it has other Isaac Allertons that may be the same individual or maybe somebody that's different, born in a different place and time. And if you continue scrolling, you'll see a More button where you can look for more. Now, if you don't find the individual you're looking for, you can either click on the More, or you can hit the back arrow right there and you can update your criteria and search again. You also notice it shows you historical documents and kind of the number of the types of historical documents that are found for this particular individual you're looking for, and we'll also give you some sample historical documents for this individual. So I'm going to go back up to the first Isaac Allerton that was in the list right here on his name there, and takes me to the person page for this individual. And you'll notice it's got a photo, and I can look at spouses, parents, sources, and memories. But if I also scroll down, it has other information. And we learned that this Isaac Allerton was aboard the ship Mayflower, one of the passengers to come over from England as a confirmed passenger in Plymouth in 1620. So he's one of the original Mayflower passengers. If you want, at this particular point, you can go over here and click on this 3 dots and more button, and you can view your relationship to this individual. I happen to know that he is my 10th great-grandfather direct ancestor, which is kind of fun. So all right, we'll go to the next feature. All right, the next feature is called Map My Ancestors in the More menu. Now, Map My Ancestors works really well, or best, if you have lots and lots of ancestors going back many generations, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. But if you don't, that's okay. You can add persons to the tree. But if you do have lots of ancestors already in the tree, then tap on Map My Ancestors, which many people are already familiar with. Shows me a number of events of my ancestors. And down here at the bottom is a list of those ancestors it's showing. I like to zoom out first and keep zooming. And you'll notice that it starts to show other locations of where you have had ancestor events. The types of events typically that it's showing are birth and burial and marriage and death, and sometimes residencies and immigration. If I even go a little bit further and scroll over here to the United Kingdom, where I know I have some ancestors, it starts to populate places that my ancestors are from, which is really fun. I actually took a trip to England about a year ago and used this and found some locations that I was able to visit where my ancestors had been born and christened and got married in the London, England, and West England area. So there's a button up here at the top that's called Settings, and it has some more details for the map. And this works on both Android and iOS. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So give it a try. A really popular feature is called Task, or Ancestor with Task. On iOS, it's right here, called Task. On Android, it's in the Overflow menu. So tap on Task, and it gives you a list of your ancestors, starting at the closest ancestors to you at the top. So you'll see over on the right-hand side, there's some blue icons. Those blue icons represent what we call a record hint. It's a hint that the system at FamilySearch gives to users to try to match an actual historical document, like a census record, with a person in the tree. So to get more information on this, you go up to the top and there's a information button, and if you press that I, it tells you how it works and explains a record hint, and there's a video also, and I really encourage you to watch the video. It's very informative on how to do record hints. But I'm going to give you an example by scrolling down to the bottom. Joel Pugh on this one, and I'm going to come over here and tap on the blue icon, and it says we found 2 possible record hints for this individual. One is 1860 and 1850. So I'm going to tap here on the arrow, the down arrow, and it's going to open it up and give you more information about this record. And right here it's showing you all the details, the data that's on that record. And down here at the bottom, it shows you the household information and the other individuals that were in that census record. And just looking at this, and it is a match, so instead of hitting not a match here, I'm going to tap compare, and it's going to take me into a tool that we have to allow you to look at the person that's in Family Tree on the right and the actual information from the record on the left, and it tries as best possible to line up that information so you can look at and make sure to the best of your ability if that really is a record for this person. So you can scroll down and see that the name is the same, close, he's a male, the birth date is the same, and both of them were in Alabama. There is information about this residence, and so I think I'm going to continue and hit add over here and move that over. A lot of times you'll get information about the children and spouses, and here it says the spouse is Rebecca Ann Shelton, and over here it says Rebecca A. Pugh, which is probably the married name of Rebecca Shelton, and the children says James W. Pugh, and we have a James W. Pugh up here. So if you scroll down, you're going to say, yes, I think I'm going to attach that, and it'll attach that record for Joel, and then it'll say, great, do you want to add the other people found in this historical record? And if you tap it, it brings them up here at the top. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Again, I encourage you, if you're not familiar with this process, look at the I button here at the top and read that. And you can ask anybody who's experienced with FamilySearch or a family history consultant. So I encourage you to learn about this quite a bit before you attach. Of course, if you attach a few of them and they're wrong, they can always be undone. Anyway, to note one thing about this is the most used feature of all the features on the mobile app. They use it daily and weekly and monthly. So it's a great feature if you haven't done it, and encourage you to go do it. Okay, let's talk about this other feature in the More menu overflow called Family History Activities. This is a discovery experience specifically for everybody, but more so for new users and people that have just downloaded the app. You can click on that, it takes you to this web browser, and it has a number of activities here, and I'm just going to go through and mention a few of those. Where I'm from, famous relatives, this one it's all about me. This one's really fun to compare a face with some of your relatives, and a way to record my story and kind of audio file of tell your story, and a little bit of a experience where you can picture my heritage, and some other in-home activities. So really encourage people to come and do that. Actually, encourage you to do that with other family members if possible. And everybody really enjoys this, and so I invite you to go to these activities and do as many as you can. Okay, there's one feature that we've designed uniquely for RootsTech. It's called Find Relatives at RootsTech. You'll see it up here at the top in this reddish banner. And this feature allows you to opt in, meaning that you agree to allow you to connect with other users and share your name and portrait and location. And using the FamilySearch public tree and the number of ancestors that every user has that kind of connects with everybody else, users are able to see how they're related to other users. And you can also chat with them, and you'll get a list of the closest ancestors at the top. Okay, if you tap on the button and you get into Relatives at RootsTech, one of the things you want to know about right away are these three buttons up here with the menu item. And if you tap on that, it allows you to update your profile and opt out if you don't want to participate anymore. But there's this really, really good tutorial called How It Works, and it's important that you tap on that. And if you're not finding very many relatives, it gives you a hint, an idea of how to add more ancestors to the tree. So give it a try.